It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, January the 29th. Good morning to yous. Here we go. We've got a ball game in 2 weeks. We know who's going to be in the final game of the season. And oh my word. What about our NFC North brethren, Detroit Lions, blowing that one? Like something out of an after-school special with a lesson about humility and, hey, it's not whether you win or lose, but how you blow the game. For the second week in a row, first the Packers, now the Lions, had a game in hand and went, you know what, San Francisco, you guys have gotten, you have 5 Super Bowls already. Go for number 6. We'll just give you this one.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to be the lovable loser? I've made a career out of it myself, but yeah, I mean, so what happened? Well, I mean, honestly, I'm in the majority of people who ate and watched the game and won't know who's playing in the Super Bowl until February 11th. But, I mean, because I wanted to, but then I stopped at a gas station. I didn't get home till about 8 o'clock last night, but stopped at a gas station, and there were a couple of guys in there bitching about the Lions, and I went, well, I heard the score of the earlier game, so no reason to turn on the TV when I get home. They
just steamrolled San Francisco in the first half. It was 24-7 at halftime.
How about that?
24-7, a 17-point collapse. And boy, it happened fast, as things like that tend to do.
In the second half.
In the second half. They were on the 49ers 30-yard line, up by 14 halfway through the third quarter, with a 4th and 2 that they went for. And ran the right play and executed perfectly, except that Josh Reynolds dropped a pass he should have caught. And then immediately the Niners take over. 2 plays later, have one of the flukiest touchdowns you will ever see in your life. Interception for the Lions that was somehow snatched away because the ball hit the cornerback's face mask, popped up into the air, and Brandon Ayuk then caught the ball. It's a total freak. It looked like a trick play you would try with your friends. A completely freakish play. Niners get a touchdown, and then on the next play, the Lions fumble. You know, it's just like this. It went from, that was an unfortunate mistake, to holy crap, the earth just fell out from under our feet. And then it was just a dogfight to the end of the game. And then their coach, Dan Campbell, he of the I'll bite your kneecap, that guy. Clock mismanagement that a 9-year-old on John Madden football wouldn't pull off. With a minute to go, they have a third, what was it? It was a 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line, all 3 timeouts in hand, 1:05 on the clock, and he runs the ball as opposed to throws the ball. They don't convert. Then he has to burn a timeout. And it's like, okay, so then we're going to score and punt, and we're going to give the ball back to San Francisco, and then we only have 2 timeouts, meaning they can run the clock out and the game's over. It was just beyond juvenile. I don't care.
That's a lot.
I don't care, and I'm still pissed off about it. Watching that game and watching that mismanagement, I'm alone in a room yelling at the clouds.
Has anyone
Abe
checked
Simpson.
on Bob Seger? I just want to make sure that he's okay. I feel like he's real disappointed.
He's not trending on X this morning. So what you're telling me, Steve, basically, is that the NFL got the matchup they wanted for the Super Bowl. I'm shocked. Absolutely shocked.
I'm not buying into any of that nonsense, by the way, just so you know. They did get the matchup they wanted, and there's no way the Ravens.
I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either, Steve. However, what you're telling me is the NFL got the matchup it wanted.
Well, of course they did. Yeah, and for everyone who's like, now they're going to get Taylor. Of course I want Taylor Swift to hang out on this show. So of course the NFL wants her to hang out at the Super Bowl. They're going to get millions of more eyeball. As astonishing as it is, as it's the highest rated TV show in the country every year, there will be millions more people watching just because they like Taylor Swift. And if that's a problem for you, then I don't know what to tell you. Who cares? It's 19
for
seconds.
Problem for whom?
Not for you. For the people who are everyone. There's so much Taylor Swift angst because they show her. I'd rather see her than the owner of the team.
So was she at the game? She was at the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was at the game.
She's looking so cute.
And she'll be, and by the way, and they've already been factoring. This is the funniest thing. Along with the odds for the final game, what's the spread? What's the over/under? The amount of time spent. Okay, she's playing the Tokyo Dome Saturday night. That's Friday night in Vegas. She'll walk off stage at midnight Sunday morning, but that's Saturday. People are calculating how soon she can get to Vegas from Japan and then how much time she'll have before she has to turn back around and fly to Australia for her next concert a few days later.
She can do it.
I thought the tour was over. Didn't she make a movie?
That's just the U.S. tour. She's now the rest of the world is lining up to go check this thing out.
And will Travis propose on Super Bowl Sunday?
Travis who? Oh, her boyfriend. Yeah, Kelsey.
Will he propose?
At the Super Bowl. I see.
Yeah, maybe he will.
Oh, man.
How cool would that be?
What time
They're
is it?
pretty cute.
Y'all
The
be
pictures
crying.
that they took of them
that-
after the game were pretty cute.
I got to, if it hadn't occurred to me, he might go down on one knee after the game. No, no chance. I mean, well, first of all, if that's the case, she already picked out the ring. And then, the award show face she makes, like, I can't believe I won this Grammy. It'll be that times a billion. I can't believe he's doing this. Oh boy. Anyway, let's get back to the football, Ken. Sorry, I didn't mean to take us down that deviate down the path. But I mean, congrats to the Niners. Whatever, you won the game. You can only do what you got to do. They did what they had to do, but the Lions this is just like last week's Green Bay game. There's no moral victory here. There's no, hey man, you know what? I mean, we went out there and we gave it a great run, and we had to see. There's no valor in that game. They completely soiled themselves, and it's an astonishing, embarrassing loss for the Lions, who had that game in hand, and just in such little ways could have put the thing away. Just with a little thing here and there. Whew, man, I mean, it just wound me up. And then, by the way, on the other side, Baltimore Ravens. Did you guys miss your alarms yesterday?
Wow,
that team was dominant. It was not a blowout. I think what was the final score? It was under. I mean, what was the final score?
Right here. It was 111 to 110.
It was
lost by a point.
It was.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to Google it, I guess.
No, it was. I mean, it was 17 to 10. I saw someone who predicted 1913, and I've had that in my head all day. Nick Wright, a sports guy, said it's going to be 1913, and I laughed and thought, that's insane. Both teams will score at least 19. It was 17 to 10. The Ravens scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. That was all of the second half scoring.
Really?
Yes, it was.
God.
And it was, and
Sorry,
I mean,
I missed that one.
And Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Lamar Jackson. You're the MVP of the season, no question about it. But Patrick Mahomes just literally shows up and is like, let me just remind everybody that when there's pressure on, when it matters, just get out of my way. It was a phenomenal performance. And Travis Kelce, speaking of Taylor Swift, what a game. I mean, the guy rope-a-doped the whole league for 8 weeks. The greatest rope-a-dope since the original. Travis Kelce's beat up. He's got no legs. He's got no lungs. He's 34. Tight ends age fast, et cetera, and he had the game of a lifetime. I mean, incredible that he just comes off the mat like this. And I think there was kind of I think it really has been a rope-a-dope. I think he just wanted everybody to think there was nothing in the tank, and he's just waiting for the playoffs, and he's flipping that switch. And now, to your point, Zep, yes, this is the matchup they wanted. Yeah. You've got the dynasty, and then you've got the Niners for the they're just a perennial contender against a team that's now trying to put themselves right next to the Patriots for you can't believe this is happening yet again. So
they keep pushing unfinished business for the Niners.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting couple of games if you are cheering for either Kansas City or San Francisco. If you're a Lions fan, I seriously, I feel bad for you.
What are you talking about? We talked to Ryder, the only Lions fan I've ever known. By the way, our very own Ryder, Knight's here, and our fantastic crack promotion director. But it wasn't Friday, but I think it was Thursday, Ryder, when Candace wasn't feeling well, was in.
Yeah.
And she's the only Lions fan I've ever known or know. And she said, I just don't want them to embarrass themselves. Now, the only way in the NFL you can the only way you can embarrass yourself is to get blown out. You've embarrassed yourself. It might be a heartbreaker, but it's not embarrassment. It's a heartbreak, but it's not an embarrassment. They didn't get blown out, right? So it was a win for the Lions fans.
No, it was embarrassing. It's humiliating. They should fire their coach.
Get Ryder on the phone.
It was. I'm telling you right now, they soiled themselves. There's not enough tide to wash out those uniforms after what happened on the field yesterday. That's just one man's opinion. What can I say?
All right, we'll get Mom working on those uniforms. She used to scrub it with her hands. I missed that. Now I just throw the shirt away and buy another one.
Yeah,
all right, Mike Evans Hollywood Report. It's not happening. It's not. We don't even have a Mike Evans Hollywood Report. I don't know what we're going to talk about here at 6:30, but I'm excited to find out.
We'll talk about Mike Evans.
We'll talk about Mike Evans at 6:30. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, January the 29th. The Mike Evans Hollywood Report will not happen today. Mike is under the weather, and we certainly send him our best. Hope he bounces back soon. Word on the street, we'll have him back on the show by Wednesday. So get well, Michael. If you were, unlike Zepp, watching the football yesterday, before kickoff on the game on Fox at San Francisco, they showed on the sidelines Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, as they do whenever he's in the house. And, Bob is, and right on Twitter and on Instagram, and I saw several posts, and people were kind of like, oh, my God, he looks like he's 500 years old. He actually looks great. Bob's been sober a while, and he works out like a dog. The last 5 years, he's really rebounded, got his act together, and he's got the blown back gray hair and the gray beard and all that. But considering where he was, say, 20 years ago, the guy looks amazing. Oh yeah,
he's got real definition in the shoulder and the chest area.
He's jacked.
The beach bod.
Yeah, he's doing well. And by the way, Bob Weir, a great high school athlete, played quarterback in high school. And I just tweeted this yesterday, and it got one of the bigger. I mean, I don't even know how many people follow me on Twitter. It's not that many, but I got more retweets than anything in years. Just the fact that I said true story. I saw this man throw a football 60 yards on a rope on tour, 1997 on a beach in Florida. A bunch of people hanging out, and Bob Weir and just some folks milling around, very casual. I don't even remember what beach it was, but there we were. And he's just tossing a football with a couple guys in his band. It wasn't the Grateful Dead. This is 97, so he was out with his band Rat Dog. And a couple fans are like, hey, Bob, what's up, man? And, a couple deadhead-looking kids, hippie kids. And this one kid goes, Bob, man, hit me. I'm going to go deep. And he's like, all right. And I'm standing there laughing at just how absurd this is. There's Bob Weir. I mean, this is only 2 years after Jerry died. It's still very much Grateful Dead, still a very current, prevalent, thing. I mean, not that they're not now, but it was still just, this is 97. This kid takes off running like a bat out of hell down the beach. I mean, the fastest hippie you've ever seen run in your life. And Bob Weir just launches an absolute laser. I'm not exaggerating when I say that ball went 60 yards in the air on a rope right to this kid in stride. Wow. And I know enough about sports to know, I couldn't do. No one on this beach is throwing that ball. And of all people, it was Bob Weir, who was not working out and was not living a healthy life in 1997, which made it even funnier. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. I was like, did you mean to do that? And he was laughing. And then, he's like, oh, man, every now and again. But he was a high school quarterback. Yeah. And then at 16, met Jerry Garcia and was like, maybe I'll just go with this guy for a while.
Kid catch the ball?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Kid caught the ball.
Saw a documentary on Point Break years ago. Of course, Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, that great heist movie. The character Johnny Utah, loosely based on Bob Weir.
I never knew that. That's great.
That's a documentary. You got to look it up.
Okay. Did you ever see the remake of Point Break? So horrible.
No, I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, they made
no
a remake.
kidding.
Yeah.
The band Journey was on hand for the game yesterday, and they sang "Don't Stop Believin'." But of course, what's the first line? Just born and raised in South Detroit. Well, they couldn't say that with the Lions, so the "Born and raised in South Francisco" is what the kid sang.
Oh,
the kid, the man who sounds like Steve Perry, can never remember his name. Yeah, but they got to mess with the lyrics that way. So but it was all in all typical Bay Area game. Bob Weir's there, Journey's there. They win the game, and the Lions, of course. Well,
I saw Bob Weir. I was actually cocktail serving in 2020, right before the pandemic, for one of his concerts, and I was crabby because it was like a Monday night, and it went until 1:30 a.m. because of all the smoke breaks. They would just play a couple songs, or one long song, and then they would just go into their trailer, smoke up, come back, go out, just all night. It was impressive, but I was kind of crabby.
Kind of crabby?
Yeah, because I had to get up for work.
What did you say, Journey or The Dead?
Bob Weir.
Just Weir.
Oh, Bob
Solo.
Weir,
yeah.
Rat bastards. I forget the name of his band. I saw him at First Avenue years ago.
I mean, it was cool. It was awesome to see, but I was just like, dang.
Rat Dog would be the name of that band.
Yep.
You're talking about.
Yep.
I opened for the Grateful Dead in 1995. One show in Tampa. April of 95, and it was kind of funny because they did a sound check, which the Dead normally in the middle of a tour wouldn't do a sound check, but this was a stadium show after they'd been playing a bunch of arenas. They played that old the Saddle, the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was it called the Saddle? It makes sense, something like that. The horseshoe, sombrero. It was called something. Anyway, they did a long sound check that afternoon, and it was a drizzly, overcast day at the time, and they played the Beatles song "Rain." The Grateful Dead did during sound check, and it was awesome. And I was sitting out there in this empty stadium before they opened doors, and I'm thinking, man, this is pretty cool. And they were just cooking at sound check, and then the cooking went on, and then when they came out for that night, it was kind of like, I guess they kind of peaked at sound check. You could tell there was they didn't have it all. Where something happened from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. A little too much cooking. Little too much cooking backstage, but hey, at least I got that sound check. And as long as we're going to look back, let's make it official. The San Francisco 49ers, they of the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, on this day in 1995, won their 5th Super Bowl. They beat the San Diego Chargers 49-26 in Super Bowl 29. Quarterback Steve Young threw 6 touchdown passes. Pretty good debut as the starter for the Niners in their 5th Super Bowl. They were the first team to get to 5 Super Bowl titles. I watched that game at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England, with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant and a whole bunch of other people like that. After we had played a gig, and then they showed up, and then they held a big room for us to watch the game. And I just remember standing there watching this football game at 2 a.m. London time, eating a bowl of really bad but heartfelt chili. They didn't really have the chili thing down over there. And I was standing there at one point, and the band, we already knew Robert Plant, but that was the night we met Jimmy Page. And he was standing right next to me with a bowl of chili. And I was like, he's just a dude eating chili watching football.
Not bad.
Yeah, okay. Then he puts on his guitar and a Superman cape comes out, and then he's Jimmy Page. But right now, he's just a dude eating chili. On this day in 2004, Major League Baseball owners approved the Los Angeles Dodgers. They were sold to Frank McCourt for $430 million. $430 million 20 years ago. You want to guess the value of that franchise today, according to Forbes? $5 billion. That's going up by 10 times in 20 years. Oh, man, oh, man.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, January the 29th. The boys are back in town by Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in the Super Bowl, those boys being the Niners and the Chiefs. This is a rematch from the game from, 4 years ago, right? It's not really,
I forgot about that.
Not really a rematch since it's not the exact same lineups and rosters. But, yeah, same two teams anyway. Chiefs in the midst of literally – it's about to be a dynasty. I mean, even if they lose this game, just the success. Patrick Mahomes, 6 seasons, 6 AFC Championship games, trying to get into his, 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. Yeah. Ha! Guy's a freak. The Lions lined up that second half. They gave up 27 unanswered points to the Niners at one point. Detroit, back to the drawing board. Google, our good friends at Google love to every now and again just share information that sometimes I see these things and I'm like, that's probably best left alone. They'll give you search results. The most searched for blank. There's always these things with Google. And a lot of people over the last few years have been searching various things revolving around a term, I should say, narcissism or narcissistic tendencies or narcissist. A lot of people go to Google to try to figure out what it is to be a narcissist, and they want to know specifically, here's one of the things they search. Is my boss a narcissist? That's like a very common thing for someone to look up. Narcissist, self-absorbed jerk. That's a pretty good way, an easy way to explain what a narcissist is. However, here's the craziest thing. So the things people check out, 4 categories. You want to either, these are in quotes, learn about narcissists, or narcissists in relationships, narcissists in families, or narcissists at work. So that's the 4 main categories people are looking into. But here's the most searched narcissism thing on Google. Is my mom a narcissist?
Mama.
Blasphemy.
Mom.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't a narcissist be the person that would Google narcissism? I feel like, yeah.
Well,
no, they wouldn't care.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's a good point.
I don't know any. I've never known a narcissist myself. Maybe that I am the narcissist then.
Well, you say that, but you know what? I can give you a little list, and then you can tell me maybe you rethink that. Okay, there's a narcissistic personality disorder. If you're talking about not a self-obsessed jerk that like I said, but an actual. This is the clinical way to determine if someone you're dealing with might be a narcissist. There's an acronym. Okay. Special me. Each one of those letters in special me stands for something. Check this out. Right. S, sense of self-importance.
That's me.
Okay. I mean, everybody's got a little bit of that. How about this? Preoccupation with power, beauty, or success.
Me, and me.
Okay. Number 3, entitled.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have it coming.
Number 4, can only be around people who are important or special.
Oh.
Can't be around people.
Yeah, okay. 5, interpersonally exploitative for their own gain.
I have to Google that one.
6, arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh. Number 7, lack empathy.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Number
Bullseye,
8,
baby.
Must be admired.
Well, I am greatly.
Number 9, finally, envious of others or believe that others are envious of them.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a pretty special list right there. For as much as you hear the term narcissist thrown around, if you go down that list and really think about it, we probably all know 1 or 2 people that you would say hit at least 6 or 7 out of those 9, if not all 9.
Mom.
And well, that was the next question. And do any of us think of our moms when going down that list?
God, my mom sacrificed pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she threw her feet up on the dash. It's her problem to begin with. But then after that, went about spending a lifetime of sacrificing everything to make sure that we had as much as we possibly could.
I would go right the same way. My mom would have never occurred to her to do anything other than whatever she had to do for the kids and for her husband. She was just a doting wife and mother. Impossible to imagine. But I'll say this sincerely, putting the words into your computer, is my mom a narcissist? What a sad, that would be so, of all the people that you don't want to know about, like, that you would hate to think of in that way. So if anybody has done that search, I feel for you. That must be awful. My mom, there are times when we used to be like, Mom, please just do something for yourself. Please think of yourself.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Just sit down and eat the dinner that you cooked, everyone. You know, she obviously would for regular, the big Thanksgiving dinners. Mom would be eating what are you doing, Mom? Just having a bite to eat in the kitchen. Why don't you come on in and join the big party? Yeah, no, Mom is all about sacrifice, except for the smothering part.
Too much love. The list: mom number 1, then it's husband, boyfriend, wife, partner, dad, friend, girlfriend, sister. Boss is 10th on that list. We're way more concerned with the people closer in our personal lives to whether or not they can be a narcissist. It's a strange thing. I mean, I can look back. I mean, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to go down some weird road to try to be funny. But there are 3 people that I have known for many, many, many years, one of whom I'm related to, that I would say are fully hit this list. I mean, just boom, green flags to planet narcissism. And if there's one thing those people all share, it's that they're just so alike. You know, they're completely convinced they're unique and special, and they're just they're cookie cutter versions of the same person over and over and over. And now, in fact, I've just thought of a 4th. give me till 10 o'clock. I'll have a baker's dozen of folks I've encountered. But it's a pretty fascinating thing when you are in the middle of a conversation with somebody you know for years, and suddenly it dawns on you like, oh, they don't hear a single word anybody says. They're just living in their own viewpoint. You know, like, oh, huh. Yeah, go ahead. And again, I can't imagine that reality hitting you that might be your mom. According to these results, the 5 states that have the most narcissists, I love this, they give you the state breakdown. Texas, Iowa, New Hampshire, Maine, and Indiana. What?
That's surprising.
That's kind of a shotgun scattering of the map right there.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense to me at all. The city with the most is New York City. Hardly a surprise.
Yeah.
Just a really bizarre, just such a wild thing to think about. And this is just based on searches and blah 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 blah. But like to say there's more narcissists in Texas than any other state. Like really?
I mean, it kind of checks when I think of Texas, but haven't spent a lot of time there. Don't really know a lot of people from Texas. I'm just going by the stereotype, you know.
Well, let's see. I'm looking up. I'm trying to find Minnesota. We're coming in at number 19 on the list out of 50. By the way, this is the least surprising. The lowest number of narcissists in of the 50 United States is Hawaii, and that does check out. Because if you're in Hawaii, even if you show up as a narcissist, it's going to wear off within a couple days. You're just like, what do I have to bitch about?
Right, it's such a cool vibe.
Yeah,
this is pretty great. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to get along. I'm just going to put on a lei and pick up a ukulele and see what happens. Yeah. That makes sense. That part checks out. Hey, my wife. I'm changing subjects. Sorry, let me make that clear. I didn't just go, hey, speaking of narcissists, let me tell you about Rosemary. My wife said to me yesterday, she goes, oh my God, my worst fear come true. And because this is the kind of thing she has literally said, what if this happened? And it happened. Lake Tahoe, a skier, Thursday night, a girl from Chile, South America, up in Lake Tahoe skiing. First of all, first things first, Zep, have you skied in Lake Tahoe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Several times, yeah.
Good slopes out there.
Yeah, great slopes out there. They get, buku snow out there, and then the sunshine to chase it.
And then there's always the chance you'd see David Coverdale from Whitesnake. He lives there.
You get a lot of star power there.
Yeah. A skier, a woman visiting from South America, from Chile, was towards the end of the day, feeling pretty tired, worn down after a long day of skiing. She took the gondola all the way up to the top. Not a ski lift, but the gondola, like the closed door, the big sucker that you take up to these giant slopes. She got to the top, and she was just like, I'm just too damn tired to go down the hill. And she said, can I just ride down? And the guy at the top put down his bong for a minute and went, sure thing, go for it. because about midway down through her descent, it was the end of the day, they closed down the gondola.
Yeah.
They just shut it down. The guy at the top didn't think to radio down to the bottom and say, someone's coming down. They stopped the operation of the gondola. She didn't have her phone with her. She went completely hoarse, screaming for help. No one heard her. 15 hours.
Oh, my gosh.
15 hours in the gondola waiting. And by the way, no one ever figured it out. They just turned it on when they started operations the next day. And when it got to the bottom, she's like, ah! You know, it's like, you know, to me, it's like, I just imagine like when they opened that door, she was like, if a cat's been cooped up too long and they just come flying out, like, you know, yeah, it was a closed air gondola. Again, she was not at risk for freezing, although it was, of course, terribly cold up there.
Yeah, right.
But 15 hours. Her friends had reported her missing. I mean, there was already like a real concern, obviously, when she didn't turn up at the end of the day. They just found her, hey, fine enough. The paramedics were called. They checked her out. Yeah. She decided not to go to the hospital. She's like, I just want to go to bed. Just let me out of here. And there's no word on whether or not, like it said, whether she plans to sue or not. Clear that tells you right there she's not an American. She's like, probably just going to let this one go. Chalk that up to user error. But think about that for a minute. Just 15 hours. Gets a lot of time to think about things when you're high above the ground, elevated, not moving at all, on something that probably does sway a little bit with the wind. If you have any sort of fear of heights, and so that's back to my wife. She was absolutely terrified on things like that. I've done one gondola with her at a really high peak, and it'll never happen again. It was my mistake. I'm like, come on, it's fine. Just hang with me. I'll get you through the. I didn't understand what a quote fear of heights really was until I experienced hers. But yeah, I can only imagine a lot of things going through your mind for 15 hours up there.
Yeah, and it's cold, and you're stomping your feet, and you're rubbing your legs, and all that sort of thing. I would be. I think I would have gone, I don't know. I would be pretty furious coming out of there. It would have been like a frickin', badger coming out of a live trap, you know. Yep. I would have taken someone's hand off. I think I probably would have bit someone's thumb off. I'd have been so pissed off. Like you said, put down the bong. Just like, oh, that's right. There was somebody on there, man. Lifties. But, luckily it was in a gondola. And it wasn't out on a chairlift overnight, or she would have had some real exposure issues. Had she been out there hanging in the mountainous nighttime wind.
Now, the average chairlift, it's actually not it's not that high off the ground, right? I mean, what would you say?
It depends. Some of them get up there 50, 60 feet in the air. They have to because, say, at Alta last year that had 900 inches of snow. When you get 50 or 60 feet of snow, in fact, I was on a chairlift last year where your skis drug on the snow a little bit. Snow's getting up there a little bit. Well, when you get 50 feet of snow,
that's
that
crazy.
Closes the gap. So I wouldn't want to fall off many of them. And then some of them ebb and flow. You get a little closer to the surface and a little further away. But some of them can hang up there pretty good, especially here in the Midwest. They have some over in Wisconsin that, one that even I was like, hey, let's put the bar down, man. That's like 100 feet down. That'd be a real issue. Luckily, she was in a gondola. Doesn't have their phone? That's almost unbelievable, right? Even old man Zepp here carries his phone with him when he's out skiing, and he gets separated from friends. But I'm not faulting her at all. Certainly not her fault.
No, that's pretty nuts. But anyway, fine result. She's okay.
She's all right. She's all right. All right. Well, speaking of moms, and we're going to lump Dad in on this topic, what is the most ridiculous thing your parents did to save a few bucks? That conversation came up. I like this one from online because this is my dad. Mom was the splurger and the spender. She was constantly lying just to, oh, no, those pants are used, Skip, that I got for the boys. But this one, my mom tried to convince the ticket guy at the movies my brother was 12. He was actually 19 and smoking a cigarette at the time. The most my dad, that's exactly what he would have done. Yeah. The most ridiculous things your parents did to save a few bucks. We'd love you to chime in this morning. Of course, the talk and text line is open, 651-989-ROCK. We'll get something up on Facebook. We have a game show at 8 o'clock. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The season is over for the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. And I just had a memory. The 2007 Super Bowl following the 2006 season, that was the Colts over the Bears. That was the Prince halftime show. The greatest halftime show of all time, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
After that game, and we watched that game at a friend's house, had a big Super Bowl party, and the kids were all friends. So it was a big, long afternoon, a lot of fun for everybody involved. And then the halftime show just blew everyone's mind. And then the game wasn't all that great, but it was still a fun day. And I was tucking my son into bed that night. He was 6 years old. And as I'm putting him to bed, and he's sitting there, and he looks up, and I was like, pretty great day, wasn't it? And he's like, yeah. And then he starts to get a little upset, and I'm like, but are you okay? And he looks up at me, and he's like, and here comes the first tear, and he can't collect his breath to say anything. I'm like, what is it? And he goes, At least we have the Pro Bowl next week.
Oh, God. So cute.
I thought, oh, my God, that's so adorable. And then I was like, oh, crap, I got to watch the Pro Bowl now?
Right.
He was so upset. It was his first, and I was thinking about that, like, because in a couple of weeks we're going to be here and be like, oh, man, that's it. Football's over. And there's always that letdown after a football season. Mm-hmm. And it hit him hard when he was 6 years old. And he was just holding out for that Pro Bowl. I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, you're not going to enjoy the Pro Bowl, buddy. I'm sorry.
That's when I did enjoy it when I was a kid. Roger Staubach throwing a pass to Sammy White. I mean, that's what I enjoyed, because then you saw Terry Bradshaw.
That's true.
Launching one to Fred Biletnikoff. Yeah. And they used to, they didn't really phone it in back in the late 70s and 80s. They still came out because they weren't making money in the first place. So it was a free trip to Hawaii. And they didn't know any better. They were still throwing. Mean Joe Green punched, I forget who the offensive lineman was. He played for the Saints at the time. It wasn't Conrad Dobler, but in the gut at the Pro Bowl and put him out of the game. But now, I get when I got older, it just wasn't as important. But I remember when Terry Bradshaw actually connected with Dave Casper of the Oakland Raiders.
Right.
And I hated the Raiders growing up, but to see that as a kid was kind of cool. But so at 6, I get it. But as a dad, you're like, oh, geez, I have to sit through this flag football game. It is a flag football game.
It is
this year,
flag,
isn't it?
yes.
Yeah, it is now. We were, and make no mistake, we watched all the festivities the next week. Like, here we go. To your point, Zep, they did like the NBA All-Star Game when we, in the 80s, as the Bird Magic era, as the league really found itself, those All-Star games were intense.
Yeah.
And now they are in the last 4 minutes, but that's really about it. Pete Rose in the Major League Baseball, when he destroyed Ray Fosse at home plate, that was in an All-Star game.
That was in an All-Star game.
He blew that catcher up like it was Game 7 of the World Series during an All-Star game. Yeah, very different vibe from back in the day. Zep, you mentioned before the break, a pretty great example of our parents. We've all, knowing all of us as we do, we all grew up with parents who were pinching pennies and paying close attention because every dollar mattered. And there was some stretching going on. We all did some things to save a few bucks. The one you shared is hilarious. The mom trying to convince the ticket guy at the movies that his brother was 12. The brother was 19 and had a lung dart going in his mouth at the time. Smoking a cigarette, 19 years old. She's like, no, really, he's 12, I promise. All had that. My mom with 8 kids, and my dad. I remember, like, at some point, my dad died in 2017, and after that, there was just a lot of information being shared and looking back as you do and going through records. And there was some time he was a plant manager at Brunswick in Muskegon, Michigan, and I think he was making like $29,000 a year. Or 31 a year with 8 kids.
Oof, yeah.
And even in those days, but you just think about what that means. And then, the IRS takes a bite, and then you've got all those shoes and all those socks and all that food when 6 of your 8 kids are boys. I mean, it was we were all looking at each other, looking at my mom going, how in the world did you make that work? And then we remember, the food didn't necessarily taste that great. There was just a lot of it. Sacrificing flavor for bulk, which, of course, no one makes a better hamburger helper than St. Imelda. So, pretty great one. Here's another good one on the list. The way you stretch $1. When I was in junior high, I wanted weights so I could bulk up for sports. My dad filled 2 big Folgers coffee cans with cement and stuck them on a sawed-off broom handle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I think, that would take more time and be more expensive, actually, than just going down to the sporting goods store and buying some cheap dumbbells. But what do I know?
Well, our dad, built us our first weight bench. I mean, the weights and the barbell and everything he did get from Sears or something like that. But, we loved to regale. But my dad was just a penny pincher to the max. And we get back together for holidays and family get-togethers. We love to tell the stories, but Mom and Dad didn't have a pot to piss in. Dad said it was we kids were teenagers before he had more than $100 in the bank to draw on. I mean, it was just you were farmers, and then there was some drought years, yada yada. But the big thing, my brother and I were both baby-faced runts, so the state fair was the big thing. 12 and under was free at the South Dakota State Fair, and we were 12 and under until 6. I went on my first date to the South Dakota State Fair with my family, a young lady that I'd met at church camp that year. And so now it's August, and we're going to the South Dakota State Fair, and her parents are bringing her down from Redfield, dropping her off with my family to go to the state fair. So it's a chaperoned first date. Yeah. I'm 15, and my dad's like, yep, at 12. I'm like, Dad, don't you? I'm sitting here with my date. And then his big thing was, if we ate out at a restaurant, I remember happening maybe 2 or 3 times when we were kids, no drinks. Water is free. There we are at South Dakota State Fair. It's August. It's about 108 degrees. And we go to a little food court there, and I'll get these little personal pizzas. And Dad pulling money out of his wallet it was hard to watch. It took about 5 minutes, and he'd look in there. And we got the Dixie cup of water. No, and then there's a water fountain about a block away. I'm on my first date, Dad. Can we get a soda? One, please? But, yeah, he was the best one, though. First car we bought as a family that I remember, I was like, 6, 7 years old. Dad wouldn't spend the extra $35 to put the radio in it.
Ooh.
Came with a radio option out. $35. We don't need a radio.
Hey, man, that's why the Lord gave us good singing voices.
Oh, Lollipop. He would sing that one, Lollipop.
We didn't. I maybe because I was the youngest kid or something, but a lot of those lessons, a lot of the example that my parents were putting out, I just kind of missed along the way because you just mentioned going to the state fair. I went to the Western Kentucky State Fair, 7th or 8th grade, and I'm like, Mom, can I have $5 for the fair? And this was a rarity. I don't know what was going on. All she had was a 20. And she said, I'm going to give you this, but I want you to spend this like it's your money.
Yeah.
And what that meant to her, she thought I would hear, so, you want to save as much as possible because that's what we do. What I heard was go bananas.
Yeah, whatever you want.
And I got home from the fair a few hours later, and she was like, how much change do you have? And I go, what are you talking about? She goes, I gave you $20. I go, yeah, you said spend it like it's mine. And she looked at me, the horror, the color drained from her face. And she goes, did you spend all $20? And I was like, yeah, like right away. You said spend it like it's mine. She was like, oh my God, this boy has missed some very important steps along the way. Yeah, here's a great one on this list too. My dad would build up speed, then turn the engine off and coast down to 5 miles per hour to save gas. And he did that while my friends were in the car.
It's always the worst. My dad's big thing, but we talked about the speed limit being 55 through the 70s, and I think well into the 80s, like mid-80s before they ended up repealing it. Well, we're out in South Dakota. There aren't any other cars. No one's going 55 except for Dad. And he wasn't going 55. He was going 50 because that's where he got his best gas mileage. So we'd have 25 miles to drive to town. Pick up a friend and come back going 50 miles an hour a flat ground, not another car in sight. So it felt like you were going about 25. But that was
my mom. My mom told me once when bounce sheets, like cling-free laundry sheets, when that was the new rage, and we were. And I mean, I grew up in a house where we all did chores. I knew how to do laundry and make some food. She was, by the time the 8th kid comes around, she's like, okay, I've done enough of this crap. You got to figure out some of this on your own. So she taught me how to do laundry. Hey, if you need something washed, here's how you do it. So I was, I was very and when I got to college, I was like the only dude of my friend group that would go do his own laundry. I was like, what's wrong with you guys? And they were like, what's wrong with you? They thought it was so weird. But I remember one day just folding the laundry, and I just, fold my pile of clothes, and there's that used bounce or whatever sheet, static electricity killing sheet. And I walked over and put it in the trash can. She goes, what are you doing? She's like, no, you can use that. You get more. She goes, smell it. It still smells fresh. And I was like, man, we're reusing bounce around here. Fair enough. Whew, didn't know it was. I thought it was a one-time thing. And she was like, yeah, because they want to sell more. It still works. And I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
She would also when she bought soap, like bars of soap, the individually wrapped. We were a Dial Gold family. Remember Dial soap?
Oh, sure. You bet. Yeah.
And she would take them out of the paper immediately. So you'd have like 6 or 8 bars, whatever she'd buy, and she would unwrap them all. She said they harden that way and then they last longer. I don't know if that's true, but she believed it, so that's what we did.
Did you have to use that little sliver until it just disintegrated?
There was no throwing away soap. Yeah. You used it until, it would, I mean, I can remember, it's like, looked like half a pencil. Like you broke a pencil in half, that was the bar of soap, and you're like, well, this can get this in between my toes now, at least.
Oh, man, the KQ Facebook post blowing up this morning. Ray, my mom always washed tinfoil to use it again.
Sure.
There's a whole bunch of washing tinfoils. My mom used to save the tinsel on the Christmas tree. Oh, yeah, so did my mom. We drank powdered milk, and we saved money because we detested powdered milk. No one drank it.
What about drying? And we didn't do this in my house, but I had a buddy who they would absolutely reuse paper towels. They would just put them. They would hang them fully dry.
Oh yeah,
yeah, paper towels.
My roommate washes. She washes out her Ziploc bags. So if she, we use a lot of them and then put chicken in it for the next day and stuff, and she'll wash them out.
That's probably good for the planet, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not good for the planet. I'm the worst with. Don't even get me started on paper towels. A roll a day. Tana, T-A-N-A, bought tobacco by the bale and rolled their own. So my parents both smoked. Didn't have a pot to piss in. How do you smoke? Laredo. You guys probably don't remember Laredo, but you know what we did when we watched TV? We made cigarettes. Because you buy these big tins of, I remember the Laredo cans. Laredo cans. And it had a little machine that came with it with the filters and the papers. And while we sat there and watched $6 Million Man, Chris and I were little cigarette making machines, which was cool when you got junior high and everybody was trying to figure out how they get a cigarette out of mom and dad's pack or steal a pack. Oh, we just squirreled them away. I'd show up with a big, rubber band around 20 cigarettes and go, all right, who wants a ciggy,
And it does wonders for your fine motor skills. There's always a benefit for that. Hey,
Water down the shampoo, by the way. Here's another one from Deidre. Okay, sorry.
Oh, no. Feel free. Go, lay it on me.
No, I was just Deidre. Her parents, her mom, watered down the shampoo. Get about a half a bottle of shampoo.
It down. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just washing plastic bags from Jeremy. Oh yeah.
Catch up with Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show podcast anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. The Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show podcast is sponsored by
Devani's Pizza and Hot Hokies.
Damn straight. Devani's are good friends with good food. Bam.
Right now on the KQ92 Talk and Text line, callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Little Kid or Drunk Adult, fresh off the weekend, for tickets to your choice of either Three Dog Night and the Little River Band, Friday, July 19th at the Ledge Amphitheater, prize provided by Mammoth Inc., or Peter Frampton, Monday, April 1st at the State Theater, prize provided by Jam Productions. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up, good luck, and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Monday, January the 29th. The Super Bowl is set. Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl 58 from Las Vegas in, 2 weeks, 1 day short, 13 days from right now. Those two teams will be going at it. For our friends from the Motor City, better luck next year. Detroit really had that game in hand. I mean, far more so than the Packers a week earlier. Detroit had the game. They had the Niners on the ropes. They had the Niners actually knocked out of the ring and let them climb back in. San Francisco rattled off 27 unanswered points at one point in that game. Absolute brutal mismanagement of the clock by Dan Campbell in the last couple minutes of the game. It's just one of those things. They'll be talking about that one for a really long time in Detroit. Championship windows, if your team isn't called the Chiefs and if your quarterback isn't Patrick Mahomes, championship windows, they open and shut real fast. So here's hoping for all of my friends and family in the metropolitan Detroit area that's not hoping that it's not over before it began. But man, that's a tough loss. That team flight home to Detroit last night. Oh my gosh!
Dan Campbell's face gets redder as he speaks. It's like getting your heart
bacteria on his nose, or what?
Your heart getting ripped out. Is what he said.
No, shut up, Dan. He's done. That's it for the Lions. I mean, you just can't, because it was more than just a quality team and building and a coaching and whatever. There was some sort of something in the air that carried them this season. That was it. Don, I don't think I bet that team doesn't make the playoffs next year.
That wouldn't be surprising. I mean, this is the Detroit Lions we're talking about. So, I don't know how those kneecaps are tasting this morning, but man, a little less bravado, a little more clock management next time, bud. Hey, you know what we're going to do right now, though? We're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to give some stuff away because that's how cool we are. We have got a couple of callers on hold. They want to play a game, and we're going to give the winner of this game a choice. They can choose either 3 Dog Night tickets, Friday, July 19th at the Ledge Amphitheater, or Peter Frampton, Monday, April 1st at the State Theater. Whew, that's a heck of a choice. That's not a Sophie's choice. That's like a so fine choice, because either one you're gonna do okay with. So let's get to it, Tony. Today's game is what exactly?
This is always a delight.
I'm not that intoxicated.
Mommy, I have to go potty. Daddy.
Drinks are on me.
The KQ Morning Show presents Little Kid or Drunk Adult.
I'm so wasted.
Brian.
Thank you. Well, Steve, who do we got up here first on the horn?
What are we looking at, Candace?
All right, we're going to start with Taylor from New Prague.
Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
You ready for a little kid or drunk adult, brother?
I am definitely ready.
All right, Zepp is going to lead you down the gilded path.
Yes, the fine line that separates the shenanigans of a little kid or a drunk adult. When was the last time you did something stupid as a drunk adult, Taylor? Was it this calendar year?
No, I got a young kid, so it's probably been about 10 years.
About 10 years. Wow. All right, here we go. You decide then. You tell us, was Mark a little kid or a drunk adult when he did this?
I threw Barbie and her Corvette into the fireplace.
Oh, I threw Barbie and her Corvette into the fireplace.
Drunk adult.
I was a kid.
Wow.
I was off at my sister on Christmas because she broke my scooter Santa got me. So in a rage and out of revenge, I threw her brand new Barbie and her Barbie Corvette into the fireplace.
Well, that's all fair because she screwed up the scooter, right? Okay,
as long as you did that before last summer, you're fine. Try that now; they're going to press charges.
All right, exactly. Well, you got to have the messed up Barbie, right? That's part of the charm of the movie. All right, Taylor, 0 for 1. You got a couple more shots out of here. By the way, we get some holiday ones with it. The holiday ones now are starting to drift in. So we have Regina here. Was she a little kid or a drunk adult, Taylor?
I went up to an old guy who looked like Santa Claus and pulled on his beard.
I just went up to an old guy that looked like Santa Claus and pulled on his beard, but drunk or a kid?
I'll go drunk adult again.
I was a drunk adult.
There you go.
I saw this old man who looked just like Santa Claus. I thought it would be a good idea to grab his beard because I wasn't sure if it was real or not. After I grabbed it, I said, "Your beard is real? Are you the true Santa?" He jumped back and said, "Lady, you need Jesus and to sober up." Then he walked away.
True Santa.
He's a kind of a Santa, I guess. All right, Taylor, 1 for 1. Not bad here. See if you can get 2 out of this with Hunter, little kid or drunk adult.
I shot a firework through my brother's car window.
Yeah, I shot a firework through his brother's car window.
Drunk adult.
I was a drunk adult.
There you go.
Wow.
We were at my folks' house for 4th of July one year, and we all got hammered and decided fireworks was a good idea. Anyway, so I set one up and apparently didn't realize the direction it was pointed in and shot right off and through my brother's car window. And he just purchased a brand new Corvette.
Oh, there's a Corvette again, yeah. That's going to leave a mark. All right, Taylor, that a boy. 2 out of 3. Solid score as it gets. We have very few people to run the table. You're sitting pretty.
I don't think I don't recall anybody getting 3 for 3 since I've been a part of the morning show. But maybe
Yeah,
if they did, it was just 1.
I might be imagining a 3 for 3. It's pretty rare. We've had many people win with just 1 right.
Yeah, yeah. So strong showing for Taylor right there. Well done. Candace, who's contestant number 2?
We have Doug from Lino Lakes.
Morning, Doug.
Good morning.
You ready to play little kid or drunk adult?
Absolutely.
Right on, Zep.
All right, Doug, you've got your work cut out for you. Another one of these holiday ones that have come in. This is Lance.
I got drunk on eggnog and knocked over the Christmas tree.
Got drunk on eggnog and knocked over the Christmas tree as a little kid, as a drunk little kid or a drunk adult, I guess.
Oh, let's say drunk adult.
I was a little kid. My parents were having their annual block party, and I picked up someone's spiked eggnog, not knowing it was spiked. And before I knew it, the room was spinning, and into the Christmas tree I went, and down it came. I wasn't allowed at those parties anymore until I was much older.
All right, a little kid got into the spiked eggnog and knocked over the Christmas tree. That's all right. That's how Taylor started this, Doug.
You know, I just, real quick, our dog Rusty, Springer Spaniel, great guy. Oddly enough, had a weird nickname, the Stoogler. I don't even know what that word means or how to spell it. The Stoogler knocked the tree down twice in one day. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe the dog was drunk.
Got into some spiked eggnog.
Could have been. I mean, it's like a whole new mystery now. 1973 was a heady Christmas at the Gorman household. I can tell you that.
DNA evidence left over, maybe. Might have to crime podcast that one. Doug, all right, here you go. Start mounting the comeback here. Or did we? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have 2 more to go here. This is Evan.
I accidentally swallowed a cockroach.
He accidentally swallowed a cockroach.
Ick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Little kid.
I was a little kid.
There you go.
We were at a friend's house, and this cockroach tried to bust into our fun, and I thought it would be funny to throw it at a friend of mine. And when I did, it hit the ceiling fan, and it shot right back into my mouth. I started to gag, and I couldn't keep its legs, and I ended up actually swallowing it. Those kids I'm still friends with call me Bugman to this day.
Of course they call you Bugman. Yeah, they still call you old Orochi. All right, 1 for 1. I like it. You need this one for the tie then, and we're going back to the holidays with Rick. Here you go, Doug.
I got caught making out with a fake Miss Santa Claus decoration.
Got caught making out with a fake Miss Santa Claus, Mrs. I believe, Santa Claus decoration. Yeah, a little kid or a drunk adult?
Little kid.
I was a little kid practicing kissing on my neighbor's Miss Santa Claus Christmas decoration.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody could see me, but their whole family was watching from the living room window while I was in their yard making out with this, I might add, very sculpted Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. All right. We have
I used to make out with weird stuff.
Yeah.
Wait,
you used to make out with weird stuff?
What?
Yeah, when I was little. I don't know, like a doll or something. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, don't open that door unless you're going to come in dancing, okay?
Then when you finally kissed your first person, was it a disappointment? Like, you're no American doll.
I was just really advanced. I remember, I was like, I had a lot of practice.
You kissed like a Cabbage Patch doll. All right, we have ourselves a tie here. That's back to you, Tony.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Taylor and Doug both
spot.
going 2 for 3. That's impressive. So now we have a tiebreaker. And I guess what we're going to do, we'll just ask a question, and the guy who's closer to the correct answer is gonna be the winner who gets to choose these tickets. So Taylor, we're going to ask you to answer the question first, and then we'll go to Doug.
Well, Candace inspired this one. An average French kiss transfers how many million bacteria? Candace's doll.
What do you think, Taylor?
500,000.
500K, so $500,000. Doug, what do you think?
$1 million.
A straight up mill.
Wow, the correct answer is 80 million.
Oh,
80 million.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, you were both pretty close in grand scheme of things, but Doug's a little closer. So, Doug, you have a choice. You can choose either Three Dog Night tickets or Peter Frampton tickets.
Three Dog Night.
Three Dog Night, he says. That means Taylor's going to see Frampton. Doug's going to see Three Dog Night. Gentlemen, solid effort for both of you. Like we said, 2 out of 3 is that's a heroic effort. Thanks for calling and thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
All right.
All right, I'm sitting here now. I went right back to what's the most ridiculous thing your parents did to save a few bucks because they're flying in fast and furious on the KQ Facebook post. By the way, don't be bashful. You want to call in this morning? We'll keep the topic open for you. Talk and text line 651-989-ROCK. Linda's mom used to put the half piece of double mint gum or the crumpled up Kleenex in her purse. So, save the gum for later. Did Mom ever do that?
Yeah.
And you asked for a piece of gum and she'd give you the used gum that was back in the little foil.
The foil, That's
trying to stretch that little pack of Wrigley's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. We're going to keep that topic open. We might have to get into this this one here. I forget which one of us does not like to use public. No one likes to use a public bathroom, but I feel like there's one of us that will not use a public bathroom. I don't know who that is, but maybe it's just because they're not fun enough. Have you heard about these new dance clubs popping up in convenience store bathrooms? Yeah, we have that story.
Always something to learn here in the mornings.
Yeah, hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, January 29th. That was AC/DC Money Talks. AC/DC is apparently back on the road later this year. 4 shows announced in Brazil for September, 2 in Sao Paulo, and 2 more in Rio de Janeiro at the Rock in Rio Festival. And a word on the street is there is a new bassist in the band. Cliff Williams had said years ago, I'm done after their last tour. He showed up for the one-off gig in October out in California, Cliff Williams, the bassist. But he said, but this is a special gig. I'm not going on the road. And he's sticking to his guns. Rumors are flying that they've already filled that spot. They have not announced who it is yet. They also had a new drummer for that festival in October. A guy named Matt Logg is on the drum kit now, so we'll see who the new bassist is. But hope springs eternal that AC/DC will bring those shows to North America as well as South America because, honest to God, the worst AC/DC show I ever saw was still pretty damn great. And I'd take one more if I had a chance.
Oh, they're so much fun.
They really are. I love a band who just no frills whatsoever. I mean, the best thing about AC/DC is when they hit the final downbeat of the final song and they just all run off stage. They don't walk up front. They don't stand there. They don't do the bow. They run away. We're done.
I still got my light up devil horns waiting for one more round.
Oh, I got pictures of the kids and their devil horns from back in the Black Ice Tour, 9 and 10. Saw a couple shows on that tour. That was fantastic. We've been talking about things our parents did as a measure of frugality. How do we save money? And there's so many great ones. The KQ Facebook page has exploded. If you want to share a thought, looking back on the ways your folks stretched those dollars, you can always call 651-989-ROCK. We'd be happy to talk with you. Here's one from the page. Jeanette wrote, Dad was very frugal, but he would load our family of 6 up for summer vacations. Generally, we stayed at a campground in our pop-up camper. However, if it was raining, he would splurge for 1 motel room, the cheapest he could find. I recall at one of these establishments, there was a knock on the door in the wee hours of the night. It was a lady who said she was selling cigarettes. Well, she was selling something, but it wasn't smokes. One man's frugal notion is another man's solicitation charge.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Right,
what kind of motel is that?
Yeah, well, the one where you pay by the hour. You're only going to be there. I pay for a whole day. You only need the hour. Here we have Lindsay, Dad. Usually Mom ran interference, but when she would leave, Dad hated paying for electricity, so he would hang our clothes up outside after we washed them, which would be fine, but he did it year-round, even when it was well below freezing in Minnesota during the winter.
Yeah, wow.
My blouse broke, Dad. It just shattered.
Joy wrote, put bread bags on our feet before our boots to go play in the snow so our feet would stay dry. That was a staple. Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
Bread bags on the feet, sure.
Yeah, we didn't have even the galoshes weren't waterproof. Your feet would get, cold and wet in there. You had the sandwich bags. That was a thing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Tony, we got some text messages, I believe.
We do. One says, road trips to Grandma's house in North Dakota in the 70s. Wouldn't pay to go to McDonald's. Put the frozen pizza wrapped in tin foil on the air filter of the 76 GMC Suburban.
Oh, come on.
90 minutes later.
No way.
Pizza time.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Holy smokes, that's fantastic.
And Dana says my dad would reuse coffee grounds. Of course.
Oh, yeah, my dad did too.
Yeah.
He would just throw, every once in a while, he'd just throw a new scoop on top of the old coffee grounds in the percolator there. Or the haircuts. Yeah, you weren't going in for a haircut. I forget when I first went in for my real professional haircut. Had to be before the Army. But, yeah, and Mom, just, God bless her, I mean, she just figured it out. It was pretty much a bowl. We just shaved the head for a long time, but then she tried. She really tried. Just didn't. I get a lot of colics. What are you going to do? That's why I grew up wearing a hat.
It's A for effort. That's all we can say.
Absolutely.
This is a good one, too, because it speaks to something else, which I'll tell you where my brain went when I just read this one from Donna. My grandma used to save all the wrapping from all the presents. And I mean, we were not allowed to rip into our gifts. We had to carefully open so as to save the wrapping and then fold it back up. I was conditioned as a child to do this. When I got out in the world and saw other people ripping open presents, I was shocked. I honestly thought it was some type of law. Yeah, I mean, it is. There are things that you just assume, because kids, you don't know. You just assume this is how everybody does it. And when you go somewhere, even as a little kid, you go to a friend's house and they do something different. I can remember countless times just being beyond baffled. And a lot of it was just as simple. I'm one of 8, and I'd go to a buddy's house who was an only child or one of 2. And just the general... just literally everything about their life did not add up in my head. I was like, wait, you just walk in and get whatever you want from the refrigerator? Like, you don't have to clear that with somebody? Like, you just took 4 slices of Velveeta? What in the world?
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes.
I remember doing a sleepover, and my friend just piled his plate full of food. I'm like, wow, man, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have a hard time finishing that. And he didn't. Only like half of it, and we got to leave the table. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to, every morsel on your plate, and then if you didn't take enough lima beans, Dad would say, well, now take a spoonful, or I'll put them on your plate for you.
Yeah, that's a really, I had that exact same situation. And in fact, I was still that way, like in my late teens and even early 20s, I'd be with somebody, go get lunch, and they'd have like half their sandwich, and I'd be like, what? You just ordered a Subway, you ate half of it. Yeah, I didn't like it. I'm like, didn't like it? So what?
Yeah, right.
What are you going to do when you get hungry again? You're going to want that. And of course, I had friends who'd look at me like I was nuts. But it's like, yeah, what are you talking about? You didn't like it. I didn't realize that was kind of the part of the process. If you've ordered it, you got to eat it, right? My Uncle Larry, one of my favorite stories from my cousins, they said my cousin took his dad, my uncle, to an Indian buffet. My uncle had never had Indian food. And this is like in the 90s. And he sat down with his plate, and they're eating. And Larry gets up and goes and gets a second plate from the buffet. And he sits down, and my cousin goes, Dad, I guess you really liked it. And he goes, no, not so much. And he goes, why'd you get another plate? And he goes, this is what I do. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. I'm not going to only get one plate of food.
Yeah, right.
He goes, but you don't like it? And he goes, no, it's not. I don't think this is very good at all. But
my dollar's worth.
Got to get that second plate, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I guess it's all paid for. How about Sandy's mom, who put strict rations on toilet paper, 1 square per?
Oh, that was never an option.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't get much done with 1 square. What?
I mean, if you're a really healthy family, you can start. If you just know people are getting up and taking care of business, boom. But boy, that wouldn't have gone well in the Gorman household. I can tell you that.
No way.
I relate to Brenda's the most on the KQ Facebook page. Her and her siblings were under 13 for a long time wherever they went.
Sure.
I was like under 13 until I was 18, I swear.
Yeah. I got once with Taylor, and she busted me because the lady went, "Oh, you're so cute. How old are you?" And Taylor goes, "Well, my dad said I'm supposed to say." I'm no. But the lady was sweet. She let us in. She let her in free anyway.
I remember going to a movie. It was under 12 was the limit for the cheap kids ticket if you were 12 or older.
Yeah.
And I went to a movie. It was on my 11th birthday, as it turned out. And the guy goes, "I think you're over 12." And I was like, I just turned 11 today. And he was like, "Oh yeah." And I had to. And my mom was just dropping us off, like she was going to do some stuff in the mall. And I had to go out and flag her down in the parking lot and say, "Come back in here and vouch for me," because the guy wanted me. I had $225 and he wanted to charge me $375 or whatever it was. And she was like, "This is his 11th birthday." And mom coming in and giving that, the guy had to back down.
Yeah.
But I actually felt really cool about it. I was like, holy crap, I'm just now turning 11 and this guy thinks I'm 12. I'm going to have a girlfriend soon. And a mustache. I didn't have either for quite a long time, as it turned out.
Took a while.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. But, yeah, these things happen. Zepp, you said something before the break about the new hot trend in dance clubs. What was all that about?
Oh, yeah. Let me grab that. I got a piece of audio for this. This is weird. I mean, public bathrooms I don't have a problem going in public bathrooms. It's just, I don't know, because I'm just a big old slob anyway.
Well, the body has to do what the body has to do.
The body has to do what the body has to do, but also we don't need to make it it is just what it is. It's a crapatorium. Go in there, get your business done. I don't understand this. Steve, I'm looking at you. A chain of Kentucky convenience stores are gaining popularity with visitors for featuring a red button in the bathroom. When you press it, it turns into a disco dance party. Music, spinning mirror, disco balls.
So I see a Hop Shop. I'm unfamiliar with that chain.
All right.
They have big red button in the bathroom and a sign that says, "Do not push this button." And then, of course, you're going to do it because you see it. And then, boom, you're in a dance club. I think the thinking here might be more, well, if we have music blaring and laughter, then people outside the bathroom won't hear some of those unfortunate bathroom noises. Maybe, for the people who have bashful kidneys or are a little worried about what it might sound like, maybe this gives you appropriate cover. You know what I'm saying?
Would that'd be the definition, I think, of a cheap date, wouldn't it? Take them down to the Hop for a little
pretty strong
party. Is there a cover charge?
So this is what you guys do for fun? Well, yeah, but hang on. Do you have to pee yet?
Yeah, right. I mean, just imagine going in there. You're just going in. You're doing your business. You have to stop at a convenience store. It just has to be done, right? And there you are, and all of a sudden someone comes in and hits the red button. I've had the time of my disco ball starts going. No, I'm not.
It's kind of like the cash cab. You think you're just getting a taxi, and then you jump in a taxi, and the guy goes, "All right, for $300."
Shut up.
Who found it? New York City. And you're like, dude, I'm just trying to get to the game.
Exactly.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, we're trying too hard out there in the convenience store, but good for them. Apparently, someone literally did have the time of their life in there with the disco dance party.
Man, that's a lot. I mean, it's both things. It's concurrently the sweetest and the saddest thing I've ever heard. This was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
A disco ball party in a bathroom at a convenience store. Glad you had it. I'm sorry there wasn't a better thing that ever happened.
Right. It always made me wonder. They always people get busted in convenience store bathrooms all the time for doing drugs. That's why we need keys if the door is outside and these sort of things. They like to go into convenience store bathrooms and do their drugs. I never figured why Why just not do it outside somewhere? But whatever. That's where you're going. The convenient. Now you're only encouraging that with a little disco dance party in there, right?
Sure.
Now I want to do some drugs. Drop some ecstasy and go to the hop bathroom.
Yeah, oh boy, I don't know. I don't want to talk about convenience store bathrooms. I've got some painful memories because I'm like you. I mean, like look, when nature calls, you just got to answer the call. You know, and I don't get too worked up about those things. I think I have a pragmatic approach to the forces of nature and the whims. But a lot of years on the road, and there's a lot of those. You just, no matter how well you plan, you're like. You got to pull over quick, like now, hurry, for the love of God, get this bus off the road.
It always happens to me when I'm shopping at stores that don't have bathrooms, like emergency situations. So I always have to go up to the lady and be like, I'm so sorry. I really want to ask, but it's an emergency. I've had to do that like 5 times.
One of my favorite rock and roll quotes of the last 20 years is someone asked Dave Grohl, how are you adjusting to life you've been famous for years, but over the last 15 years, he just went to the ultimate level. He's as big a rock star as there is on the planet. And in 2008 or 9, like right when they started playing like stadiums in Europe, Foo Fighters they were ascendant and they had taken that leap, right, from arenas to stadiums. And they said, what's it like? That's a big switch for you. How has that impacted your life? And he goes, well, the biggest thing is I can't take a dump in a truck stop anymore. Because that's really what I've noticed mostly is like things like that, which is true. He walks into a truck stop even at 3 a.m. It's like, it's not, hey, there's a long-haired guy. It's like, hey, there's Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters. Let's follow him into the bathroom. That's a tough one.
I know people do that. And then they ask for ever anyone walk in and ask you for an autograph or something at the bathroom.
I've had that happen. I've been standing at a urinal, just not like at a truck stop, just like at a club, like I'm seeing a band. Right. Hey man, what's up? It's like and it sounds like such a whatever. It's like so cliche, but yeah, it's absolutely happened. It's
that's the one time I just purposefully pee on my hands a little bit and then grab whatever they want me to sign, make sure it's a little moist and wet, kind of flick my hand a little bit like sorry, had a side shooter there.
The temptation is, of course, to turn and face the person and say, sure, what do you need? Just peeing all over their feet. But I never had the stones to pull that one off. Hey, the Tee It Up golf card number 2 is on sale now. You can golf 6 area courses. Save $175 doing it. Good Lord. Get yours at 92kqrs.com. Search the keyword golf.
All right, talking the Super Bowl's happening. So we got a little Super Bowl chat going this morning. The most ridiculous thing your parents did to save a few bucks. Talking text line 651-989-ROCK or jump on the KQ Facebook page with everyone else and make a contribution. And please hang tight. We have a guest.
Man.
Wait a second.
What the?
I almost forgot all about Trevor Anderson. I'm sorry, Trevor. It's Monday. I've got a head full of cotton candy this morning. We have a local comedian, Trevor Anderson, who also has his own Allman Brothers tribute band, Hell Yeah, headlining First Avenue Saturday, February 3rd, and he's going to join us at 9 o'clock. So please hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Steve Gorman, this is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, January 29th, and check this out. Just announced, 92 KQRS presents Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper Sunday, August 25th at the XL Energy Center. And right now on the KQ92 Talk and Text line, text BILLION to 651-989-ROCK for a chance to win tickets. Text the word BILLION, 651-989-ROCK for a chance to win tickets. Again, that's Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper, Sunday, August 25th at the XL Energy Center. Right on. A little sooner than that, as in this Saturday, February the 3rd, there's a gig happening at First Avenue, the Brothers Almanac. Double feature presentation of the Allman Brothers Eat a Peach and Brothers and Sisters album from the Brothers Almanac. And one of the Brothers Almanac, Trevor Anderson, is with us in studio. Trevor, good morning, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm well. You are originally, or first I should say, first and foremost, you are a stand-up comedian. And now I'm hearing you're also Greg Allman in your off time.
Yeah.
So you've got to explain yourself, sir.
Well, I'm just trying to have fun and be as broke as possible. But
okay, right?
No, it's I was doing the music thing before comedy actually, and then these guys that I've been playing with, we started kind of doing Allman Brothers,
right?
Working those into our bar gigs and stuff,
right?
And then
right.
We're like, oh, we could do this full on, like bring in both drummers, both guitar players, and
right on.
Yeah, so
you got a J-Mo and a Butch, and you got a Dickie and a Dwayne.
Yep.
And then there you are playing. Are you playing B3 and piano both, or just one or the other? Or
I kind of switched between the two.
Wow.
We've got Nicholas David coming in to do backup on some keys on Southbound, and it's going to be a good time.
So you were playing music first before you started doing comedy. What kind of music were you? Where'd you start? Let's go back to the basics here.
Yeah, so it was. Well, I don't want to talk about my high school ska band, but
we don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, we're gonna skip that.
No. Everybody's got a ska band.
Yeah.
In the past.
No. In the mid 2000s, we do the original stuff with a band called Circle of Heat. It's kind of funk rock. Jam. We got lumped in with jam bands, but we're like we do know how to end a song.
Okay,
so,
really important thing to learn.
Yeah, so that was kind of how partially what drew us to the Allman Brothers is like they had that blues rock background, but like could expand and do.
Of course.
They could go wherever with stuff. So that's what we really like about that, doing the tribute to them, and also still doing kind of our own take on some of this stuff.
Right, sure, which is fantastic. So we were just saying before we came back from the break, I know a lot of comedians, or I've certainly met a lot of comedians who play music, and I know an awful lot of guys in bands, musicians I've known, myself included, who at some point, teen years, you're thinking, I think I'm kind of funny. I could write. I never saw myself as a stand-up comedian.
Sure.
I did think to myself I could be a writer one day. I could be a comedy writer, or maybe a performer, like an improv type. It's just the things that are going through your brain. And also thinking, I got to get a drum kit. I got to do that. And it's an amazing, the crossover there's something about the brain of people that do either comedy or music where there's a whole lot of common ground is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. I think part of what is appealing is, you get that instant feedback where you're performing, and it's like, I've done plenty of gigs with the band where like the bar is like not into it. They're like, we should just hit the jukebox or whatever. But
we came here for ska, not the Allman Brothers.
It's like, I left my trombone at home.
Yeah, right.
Haven't touched that in years. But no, I think there's something about that live, element where you're connecting with people, and
right.
The one thing I will say about traveling with the band, being on the road, it's like if you have a bad gig, you're at least with your friends.
Yeah.
With comedy, if you have a bad gig, you're just going back to the hotel.
Man, that's tough.
Stopping at the vending machine on the way in.
Yeah.
That is rough right there. Trevor Anderson is in studio with us. The Brothers Almanac, his Allman Brothers tribute band at First Avenue this Saturday night. And again, a double feature presentation. You're doing Brothers and Sisters, which is noteworthy. That's the first album. Most of it was recorded after Dwayne Allman died. They replaced him with a piano player named Chuck Leavell.
Right.
And then you're doing Eat a Peach, which is just a mother of a record to get around on. I mean, are you full on doing Mountain Jam?
Oh yeah, we had a band meeting. We're like, do we plan out the Mountain Jam, or do we just let it go for 20, 30 minutes? And I think we're just going to let whatever moves us happen.
What happens. Yeah. I can tell you, one of my favorite nights ever in a pool hall was one of the first times I ever saw a CD jukebox,
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you can play whatever song you want. And one of the guys we were shooting with put on Mountain Jam, which is, it's a half hour long.
Yeah.
And you're watching the mood in the pool hall. Like, every 4 or 5 minutes, there's just an inherent subconscious, I wonder what the next song's going to be. And then for 30 minutes, this entire pool hall's like, what in the hell are we listening to? And then we rack it, we finish, and we pay as it's ending. And as we're at the door, it starts again. And we looked at him like, what did you do?
You put it on twice.
He put it on 3 times. 90 minutes of Mountain Jam. So as long as you cap it, it's pretty great. Well, that's going to be awesome. It's cool to see this kind of a gig at First Avenue as well.
Yeah. And we're really excited. We got Stealing Dan opening the night, which is it's a good pair, kind of, same genre, same vibe, but like very different type of music.
Sure.
And we're just looking to have a good time.
How many gigs do the Brothers Almanac play in a year? Ballpark it.
It's we kind of pick and choose at this point. You know, pre-pandemic, we were all about taking whatever gig came our way, and now we've got kids, we got mortgages, we got marriages and stuff.
Man,
so
reality bites.
I know,
doesn't it?
yeah, but we're all about playing. Having fun. We play a lot down at Excelsior Brewing.
Okay,
they've been really good and getting us on stage as much as we want to. Yeah.
Trevor Anderson in studio. Okay, and now let's go back to comedy. You've got some gigs coming up in the Twin Cities, correct?
Yes, yeah. I'll be at Acme at the end of the month, opening for Chris Porter.
Yeah.
Great.
Another musician.
Yeah.
Yep.
Primarily comedian,
right,
I would say at this point.
I should say a comedian who also plays is what I meant to say.
Yeah. I've worked with him before in the past. It's always a good time at Acme, and especially with somebody that I know is going to have a good time with. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He was in studio. He was right where you're sitting last year, his last run through Acme. I met Chris. I've known him since like 2008, I think, if memory serves. It goes back a ways, yeah, when he was just getting started. He grew up a huge Black Crowes fan, and we were doing the Tonight Show, the Jay Leno Tonight Show. And there was a comic, I can't remember the comedian's name, but whoever the comic was that was on the show that night was a buddy of Chris's. So he tagged along, and we were just like backstage in the green room where you are. And there's like the guy who's going to be on the Tonight Show, and then this other guy. And the other guy was, you can kind of tell when someone's like looking at you funny. And they're like, what's wrong with that kid? What's happening with him? And then he finally came over. He's like, I'm a huge fan. I saw you in high school 97 times or whatever.
Yeah.
All that to say, we've all become good friends, and he's a tremendous comic. Those will be fun nights.
Yeah.
Trevor Anderson, you are from Wisconsin. Where specifically?
I'm from Woodville, Wisconsin, which is just outside the cities. It's what it sounds like. There's woods and a village.
A wooded village. That sounds very nice. So let's get right to it. Did you play any sports growing up?
No, I didn't. I was... So we moved to this small town. My dad's 6'6", a bunch of tall boys. I have two brothers. We moved and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're our basketball team's set for the next 8 years."
Yeah, sure.
I was like, "I will be at every game, but I will have my trombone trying to put together a ska band."
Wow.
I'll be in the pep band. So yeah, not too many sports, but
a fan though. Did you?
Yeah. I love sports.
So who are your teams?
I actually grew up in Wisconsin as a Vikings fan, which during the 90s and 2000s was, builds character, as my dad says.
There it is. All right. So not a Packers fan. So you're okay. That's good. I mean, we accept both kinds here. I mean, we go, we swing a wide net, throw a wide net. But yeah, that's a fascinating thing to grow up on the wrong side of the state line.
Yeah, no, my family's all from Western Minnesota, so we just grew up watching Twins, Vikings.
So trombone, ska band, the whole thing, and so
we don't have to talk about that.
No, I know, but I'm just going back. I'm going back in time. You're a high school kid, and then I guess the years after high school, I'm always fascinated by people who do comedy, specifically stand-up comedy, and the beginning days. Like there's a day when you say, "You know what? Screw it. I'm going to hold a microphone in a room full of strangers and just see what happens."
Yeah.
So how old were you the first time you did that?
I was in college, about 20, I think. But I always wanted to do it. Growing up kind of in the woods, I ended up just watching Comedy Central every Friday night. Watching those specials, and I was like, I think I could do this.
Wow.
And you kind of, like you said, you just. And bite the bullet and do it.
Was your first ever attempt? Was it average, good, terrible? Did you kill? Did you bomb? What happened?
So it was really good. It was at Acme, their open mic, which is fantastic. It's
first time up. You were at Acme.
Yeah. You put a star by your name and they let you go. And I've been writing for a long time, and it was good. And I was like, I really want to do this, but I need to bomb. Mm-hmm. So then I would go to the now R.I.P. Grumpy's open mic downtown, and oh man, it was rough. But I was like, I made it through it, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I can do good and bad.
What is the 20-year-old Trevor Anderson? What are you talking about? What were your first sets? What was the content?
I had some Ninja Turtle jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think I remember asking why they weren't wearing pants.
Right.
Which
Sure.
I guess, turtles don't wear pants, so that wasn't a great joke. But.
No. Okay. Probably a good thing that we've moved on then.
Yeah.
We're in a whole new thing now.
I did find my old notebooks during COVID. I was cleaning my basement, and I was like, oh, there might be some good stuff. And I literally had a page that said, the good stuff. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh, my God. This should be buried.
We've raised our standards over the years.
You live and learn.
The Brothers Almanac, your band, your Allman Brothers tribute band, will be at First Avenue this Saturday night. You don't run shtick from the stage. You're not in between songs trying to mix the worlds and cracking up the audience. You're just surly Greg Allman up there.
Yeah. I'll have a whiskey and keep it quiet.
Bitch about Cher a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
if you are going to talk on the mic.
Yeah, no. We were at a band rehearsal last week, and they were like, "Yeah, no talking," and they kind of all looked at me, and I was like, "Okay, I got it."
do you have the surly gravel voice Southern accent just in case you need it for in the middle of between songs? There could be a problem with the sound with the light. You want to put that Greg Allman vibe out there to get people to pay attention.
Yeah, I think we. Between me and Jake, the other guitar player, he does the Dickey part, so we're the only two with mics.
Okay.
So we'll keep it.
You
flowing,
get there if you need to. Fair enough. Brothers Almanac with Stealing Dan. That is this Saturday, February 3rd at First Avenue. Trevor, thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great night at First Ave, and we'll see you. I know I'll be out at Acme to see my buddy Chris Porter, so I'll see you as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, right on. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, you know what else is going on right now? The big game weekend at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. That's the newest luxury resort and casino on the Las Vegas Strip. And we would love to send you there for the big game weekend. One winner is going to score a trip for two to Vegas. That includes airfare, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, $150 credit to spend at one of its 36 restaurants and bars, and 2 tickets to the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas big game viewing party at the Blue Live Theater. Text the national keyword Vegas to 95819 right now to enter for your chance to win.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, January 29th. We now know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs beat the Ravens, who failed to show up for the game yesterday. The Niners beat the Lions, who showed up for the first half yesterday. Two very, very different games. Ravens-Chiefs was very muted, and then Niners-Lions started off just like a fireworks explosion. First half for the Lions, second half for the Niners. Ugly finish to a great season for the Detroit Lions. Best in decades, but it all came crashing down late as the Niners took over, and some very, very, very poor clock management, to say the very least, about the Detroit Lions bench. Here's some Super Bowl information I find kind of crazy. I guess this isn't a big deal, but it just surprised me. 1 in 11 people who plan to watch the Super Bowl won't even know who's playing until the game starts. That's what they say. So there's a lot of Super Bowl parties. A lot of people get together. And obviously, I don't expect everyone to be a football fan. But you got 2 weeks to figure it out. And 1 out of 11 people, apparently, will have no idea who's in the game until the kickoff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I have a daughter that loves to go to Super Bowl parties. My youngest hates football. I mean, pathologically, I'm not sure what happened there. But my oldest absolutely loves the Super Bowl. Couldn't tell you the name of one. Minnesota Vikings. She'll say that.
That's it.
Otherwise, she does not know the mascot for any team in the NFL, but loves. Listen, Super Bowl parties are what New Year's Eve is to partiers. It's amateur night, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get together and party and have a good time. And we used to have ragers, I mean, with like hundreds of people at these parties. And, we'd be jumping out of windows and slides and playing paintball, and it was crazy. But, at some point you kind of want to, I don't remember who won last year.
Do you think it would be
I'm serious.
Last year? Your defending champion, Kansas City Chiefs, will be going for trying to go back-to-back.
That's right. Against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right.
That's exactly right.
Now I remember.
Now you remember. Let's see. Super Bowl, I'm trying to think, what was the, oh, yeah, the average viewer watches 29 minutes of the game itself. Most people at Super Bowl parties don't actually watch much of the game. Again, it turns into a whole thing that goes beyond just the game itself. And that's the thing. Is it even worth mentioning? Every year it comes up. But doesn't it make sense, or does it not make sense, to move the damn Super Bowl to Saturday?
Of course.
Because the next day should be a holiday. Like the statistics of people who are sick or call in late. The day after the Super Bowl is a legendarily inefficient day for the American workforce. So why not just move the Super Bowl to Saturday so everybody has Sunday off?
Even my kids said that too. They're like, we have school, you have work. What's the point? Why have it on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, what are you going to do on Sunday then?
Rest, recuperate.
I can tell you what I won't be doing.
That's my rest time, football.
Yeah.
You go worship and beg forgiveness on how much money you squandered betting on the damn game.
I don't know. Suck it up, boys. Come on. You can do it.
You don't even, do you have any idea, Candace, less than 2 minutes ago we talked about last year's Super Bowl. Who won last year?
Chiefs.
Oh, nice. Okay. You were paying attention.
I do watch football, and I feel terrible because I think that the reason the Lions lost is because of me. I really thought they were going to do it based on that first half, boy, but I jinxed her up real bad.
Candace, I'm going to go ahead and ease
you know a lot about football.
Let me put your mind at ease. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No, you're good. You're in the clear. I'm saying that as a guy who, for the entirety of my 11th grade year, when Michigan had the ball, I turned away from the TV screen. And they had a great season because every time I watched, they couldn't score. But if I wasn't in the room or if I turned my back, they would have a better drive. So anyway, yeah, superstitious sports fans, I'm all over that one. The top things people buy before hosting a Super Bowl party are, of course, a new TV and a new grill. Think about that, the grilling and TV industry, how much work they're going to get the next couple of weeks. It's funny, I remember having a big Super Bowl blowout. It would have been January of 98. Whatever game that was. I think that was the first of the Broncos back-to-back Super Bowls. Did they beat the Packers? Did the Broncos beat the Packers?
Candace?
Because didn't the Packers beat the Patriots and then they lost to the Broncos, if memory serves? One of those, I had a bunch of people over at the house, and the grill was set up so I could grill outside and look through a window at the TV. And then, because I had to check on all the dogs and the brats and everything, and then, but then some people that were there thought it was really funny to just stand in front of the window and block my view. And I was like, I'm grilling food for you.
Yeah,
get out of the damn way. It was like a shtick the whole day.
Maybe they wanted to keep an eye on you so you weren't screwing it up while watching the game.
They would have been more than welcome to come out there. Oh, trust me, my grill technique. I'm terrible at. I'm a bad griller. I'll just come out and say it.
Overcooked.
Everything's overcooked. I'm panicked about giving someone, botulism or something, or salmonella. So
fair enough.
Yeah, man. It's like don't get me near a piece of fish in a grill. It's going to come out like you did say blackened, right?
Yeah, that's what the sides are for. You load it up with all the other good stuff or condiments. Tartar sauce.
I have no plans for this Super Bowl. In fact, I haven't even thought about it. I guess I got a couple weeks to figure it out.
I might have a party.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. But only really smart people about football can go.
Okay.
Because of the post-game discussion you'll have.
Yeah. The debate.
The Packers won. The Packers beat the Patriots. That's right, in 97. Then they lost to 98. The 97 Super Bowl, I remember I was on tour in Europe, and this is how great it was in the 90s. We didn't watch the game Sunday night. We watched it Monday night and had no idea who won. It was as if it was live. Because you could somehow back then still ignore news if you didn't want to know what happened. Yeah. Got a VHS tape on a bus that someone had recorded, and if I'm not mistaken, it was the Swedish telecast that we enjoyed.
Fun.
And we watched that game. That was kind of cool. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hell, as long as we're looking back, how about a history lesson? It is January 29th. On this day in 1995, the San Francisco 49ers became the first team in NFL history to win 5 Super Bowls. This was not Joe Montana's San Francisco 49ers. This was Steve Young, who let the world know he was no slouch by throwing 6 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl 29. They beat the Chargers 49-26. The game was not as close as that score would lead you to believe. This was still at a time when the NFC was just kicking the snot out of the AFC year in and year out. I watched that game at the Royal Albert Hall in London. My band had just played there that night, and they had a big party for us after. The promoter held a big room, and they made chili and burgers and all this great American food, and it was awful. Just the worst chili. There was nothing chili-like about the English chili, but we appreciated the effort. I ate it. I mean, I'm not going to be a jerk. Like the caterers are like, we hope we got it right. Is it good? And I'm like, oh, it's fantastic. As long as I drink more beer and I can forget how bad this tastes. But anyway, that's where we watched that game. So a few things happened that night of note. One, I met Jimmy Page that night for the first time. He came to see the band. And also, Darius Rucker was there from Hootie and the Blowfish, of all people, who they had just started to kind of blow up, and he was good friends with our opening band. And we had met him, back in the old days, but he was at the gig, and I remember being like, that's that Hootie dude. What the hell's he doing here? I didn't know they had a big record out. Yeah, I mean, they were like a regional band I knew from the South, and I was like, wow, he made it to London. Good for him. And then like 6 months later, he'd sold 9 billion records, and he was the biggest rock star in the world. This day in 2004, the Dodgers were purchased by a guy named Frank McCourt. He paid $430 million for the Los Angeles Dodgers. 20 years later, the value of that team, according to Forbes, $5 billion. And, of course, Frank McCourt sold the team himself in 2012 because he was all kinds of problems, mostly a divorce. He and his wife were divorced. There was something about, I think he had to pay something like $1.9 million a month in alimony for a while. It was one of those. It was pretty rough. But anyway, yeah, the Dodgers are now worth $5 billion. Frank really probably should have tried to hang on to that team a little bit longer.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.